All right, hello
Hey.
everyone. Welcome to my first episode ever. This is the That's Tragic podcast. Hello, I have a very special guest today. So I actually picked her to be on my podcast because I did make that YouTube video about the most toxic salon owner I ever worked for. And she worked there as well, so I figured it would kind of circle back and be relatable to stuff I've already shared with you guys. So I'm going to give her the floor
Yeah.
to introduce herself real quick and talk about her salon and all the things. All right.
Well, I'm Hailee. I just recently opened a salon in the area. We started in a studio salon. So when I left my last salon job, which is where Jamie and I worked together, I had actually been working at a beauty supply store.
Oh, I didn't
When I
know
was
that.
working there, yeah, I was working at the salon and I was working at a beauty supply. So while I was at the beauty supply, another one of our old coworkers actually I had run into there,
Ooh.
and she offered me to rent out her studio if I ever needed a position somewhere else. Um, Actually, a few days after that conversation, things had kind of gone downhill at the salon. I had found some things out, and it was time for me to go. So I left that position and I actually messaged one of our old coworkers and I ended up renting her space from her 1 day a week. And
Okay.
that's kind of when I transitioned into a rental stylist. It was by far the hardest thing I've ever done. I actually ended up quitting hair for about 6 months, completely stopped doing it. And then my boyfriend actually got me back into doing hair. So I had transitioned from all of that, and then I got my new studio. At this point, I was still by myself, still working at Cosmoprof, all of those things. And then I met my now co-owner, and she's one of my best friends. So we ended up opening the Grove together. So we got our own little studio room. It was just the two of us. And within like 3 months, I was like, we need a bigger space. I want more people in here. I want more friends. I want to learn from other people. I want to create a space where it's safe for
Absolutely.
everyone and everyone can always learn things. We're big on education. So I wanted to be able to start doing that. So we transitioned into a 2-chair studio, which again, we were only there for like 4 months. And then we found our salon. So when we found our salon, it's now a 6-chair salon. And we have an amazing team of stylists. We do have an assisting program to an extent. It's more of a voluntary education program. But it is super fun and it kind of just came out of nowhere. Like I went from working 2 jobs, working in a beauty supply as an hourly employee hairstylist at a salon to completely quitting hair altogether. And within a year from that, I ended up here. So it definitely has been a roller coaster, but it's been
Yeah.
so much fun.
It happened so fast, and I feel like, I mean, me and you were never like besties when we worked together, but I
Yeah.
definitely like enjoyed working with you. And
Yeah.
after following you, I swear I'm not stalking you, but everything you said, I'm like, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. And I
Yeah.
remember when you taught like a social media class too, and honestly, I thought that was like very cool.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
always wanted to be an educator, but teaching is really hard. It's not something that like everyone and anyone can do. But I
absolutely.
wanted to do something to kind of get out of my shell. And it
Yeah,
was fun. I'd like to do more, but it was hard to come up with everything and then to also keep people interested and all of those type things. So I haven't taught in a really long time, but
yeah,
I social media is a very interesting place.
yeah. I feel like you kind of
Um,
thrive in that space though. Yeah.
yeah, I have had some run-ins. There was some issues that had circulated with me copying people's posts.
I didn't know that. What the hell?
Yeah, so
That's
it's actually
wild.
my post is still up, like addressing the situation, but before we worked together, I worked at a different salon and there was a very amazing hairstylist that worked there. And I absolutely loved her Instagram page, and she's actually the person. I didn't know her personally, I just knew her from work. But she's actually the person that inspired me to have a pretty Instagram and like to educate on my Instagram. So back then I was newly licensed, you know, like I didn't think anything of it, and I would kind of see what she would post and I'd copy and paste her captions.
Yeah.
And I only did it like maybe 3 times, you know.
Yeah.
But back then she had addressed the situation to me, and was like, hey, like, don't do that, you know, like I work really hard on this. And I was like, okay, like I understand. I don't feel like I stole anything, but I understand why, you
You would
know.
feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I would feel the same, you know, if I really worked hard on something, like, yeah, I get it. Years and years had gone by, and like I had kind of started to pick up like what kind of backgrounds do I need to have in my pictures? What settings should I have my camera on? Like how to edit it? Like what things are going to attract a clientele that I want? So that's when I started educating it, because it finally clicked for me. I went from 0 clients to pretty booked, like in a matter of months.
Do,
So
do you feel like social media is how you were able to kind of like expand your business so quickly?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I literally started with nothing. I had no clients. I was
Yeah.
in a studio suite that I was renting out by the day, and I transitioned slowly into having enough clients that I could like afford my own studio suite, which grew into a bigger one, which I found all of my girls from social media.
Yeah.
So all of the girls
That's
that
cool.
rent a chair here, I found them all off of Instagram, really.
Yeah.
Um,
And then what is your Instagram? You should share it with people so they
my
can find
Instagram
yours.
is hair by Hailee Elaine, and then my salon is the Grove Salon Co. on Instagram.
Awesome. And you
Yeah,
guys are you guys in Roseville?
we're in Rockland.
Oh, okay. So kind of
Yeah,
close by.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool. Very cool.
yeah,
You know, you talked about something earlier, how you were working at a beauty supply and you almost quit
yep,
doing hair. This is kind of what inspired me to make this podcast, because I think a lot of people have this like facade about hairstylists. I don't know if that's the right word, but they have this like
yeah.
idea about us that we just get our license and make like 6 figures a year. And it's
Whew.
crazy because 90% of the stylists I know, we have second jobs.
Yeah,
Like this is not our main thing until we can build up, and it takes so much like time and effort, and it
absolutely.
almost sets you back because you want to put that time into like building your business. But if you're
Yeah,
working another job and then balancing, like, you know, like I'm a mom, or if you have like
yeah,
outside life stuff, it's so hard to give 100% to your business when
yeah.
all of your time is like in another job, you know.
No, absolutely. I've worked 2 jobs. I just recently got to a point where I was able to go full time doing hair. But since I was in beauty school, I've worked 2 jobs, whether I was at a
Yeah.
salon and then a backup job, or my backup job was my main job. Like,
Yeah.
I've gone off and on. Every single one of my girls here, all of them have a backup job.
Yeah.
I try and push them to go and work at beauty supplies or like reception for like anything in our industry, so they can
Yeah.
continually get knowledge on other
Yeah.
products, other brands. They can talk to other stylists or estheticians, things like that. Uh,
Yeah.
and obviously, working there, most places give you a discount when you're an employee there, so it always
Absolutely.
helps the bigger goal. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of stylists who are like bartenders and they try to like
yeah,
hustle clientele that way, but
hmm,
it's just like so tragic that that's literally what we have to do. And
yeah,
then social media, like it's a blessing. Like you said, it helped you build up your whole career. But it's a curse at the same time because it really does make people feel like we just have it all figured out.
yep,
You know, and I've been licensed 10 years, 10 plus years, I think like 13. I don't want to
yeah,
admit I'm that old, but 13 years. And, you know, it's crazy because up until like my 5th year in, I didn't even feel like I knew anything.
yeah,
Like nothing. Like I was constantly like second guessing myself. Then I hit that 5 year mark and I was like, all right, like I could do these basic services now without even like
yeah,
thinking about it. But it really does take that long. So that's
yeah.
like wild. How long have you been licensed now?
March will be 3 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it clicked for you a little bit faster. I love that
It
for you.
did, but I feel like I've never worked in any other industry. I've only ever worked in the salons. So like
Yeah.
when I was 16, my first job was literally receptioning for a salon.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
from then on, I've only ever been in salons, whether I was transferred to a different location or I was, you know, I resigned from that
Yeah.
job and went to a different salon. I've only ever worked in salons, so I was always around it because I wasn't sure that hair was actually going to be for me. I actually wanted to be an esthetician.
Oh, I didn't know that
So
either.
I wanted to do
Fun
like
fact.
facials and waxing and stuff like that. But my mom was like, go work in a salon and a spa and see which one you like more.
Yeah.
So then I ended up going to beauty school, got my cosmetology license, and I continued working as like a receptionist. I've only ever been in salons. The like most out of my comfort zone was actually my first job at a beauty supply while we were working together.
That's crazy. Because, see, I
Yeah.
didn't even know you had a second job when we were working together.
Yeah,
That
I
is
was,
crazy.
I tried keeping it, just the salon while we were there, and then it just got a little rough. I was
Yeah.
out of school and whatever, and obviously, like, I'm 21 right now. So, like, I wanted to move out of my parents' house. I wanted to do all of those things,
Why
and
did I think you were 24?
I turned
Literally this whole time, I
22.
thought you were 24.
I turned 22 in April.
Love that for you. That's
Yeah,
really cool. That's
yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been crazy. But it did definitely it clicked for me a little easier because I've been around it for so long. Technically, I feel like I've been in the industry for 6 years, but I've only been
Yeah.
licensed for 3. So
Okay.
yeah,
I see.
yeah,
Well, I would love to spill the tea for everyone about
yes,
some of your experiences you had. So, real quick for the audience, if you're listening, we're not going to name drop or talk about the salon's name because we are going to do this very respectfully and with tact because that's the whole mission I'm trying to do in the beauty industry. But I
yeah,
think it is okay for us to normalize having these conversations of
yeah,
things that happen to us because I do think a lot of us have some trauma from what happened. And I don't use that word lightly. Like, I literally still to this day am like, what the hell did I go through during that time?
yeah.
So, were you working with us when we were at our first location or only when she had that second location?
I came at the second location.
Okay, so I'll give
Yeah,
you a little backstory about the
okay.
first location so you can kind of understand. When I first started working there at that location, everyone was booked and busy. Like, I don't know why. We were advertising heavily on Yelp at the time, and
Hmm.
everyone was like super busy, and it was definitely like a smaller space. So
Hmm.
that's why she decided to jump over to the larger space. But I
Yeah.
don't know what happened between the transition because things went from like good to like really bad really quickly and it was
Hmm.
just this really weird thing to watch. I did the assistant program there, right? There was no structure to it, and it was totally chaotic. But I don't think I had any business being an assistant because I had already been in the industry for so long. And the
Yeah.
only reason I really agreed was because during the pandemic and whatnot, I took like a step back. And so I really wanted to kind of get that confidence back. And she kind of didn't even give me a choice. She was like, everybody starts at an assistant and that's it.
Yeah.
So as I was assisting there, I was like constantly fighting for myself. Like, I'm ready to take clients. Like, I deserve more than this because I was doing full services. Like, at one point, I did an entire keratin service
Mm.
for you know who I was assisting, you know who. And she didn't even tip me out. She did not even tip me out, and I did an entire keratin from start to finish. And she literally told me that it was an honor to work on her clients, that I should be
Okay.
honored. And I was like, absolutely not. So finally, I like thought for myself, and we were still at that first location, and she put me on to like the books so I could take clients, and she
Yeah.
hired another assistant. Well, that other assistant smelled the weirdness going on immediately. She lasted like one day, and she told them off like this is unacceptable and I won't be working with these conditions and whatnot. And so I went to work the next day and I had clients and I was really excited, but she moved the clients and closed my books and demoted me back to assistant. And I was like, oh my God. So
Yeah.
things like that, I feel like I definitely was taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to speak on these type of things. But it was after we moved to that second location where I was already fed up and I'm not gonna lie, I was telling everybody, you remember, I was like, this sucks. It sucks here.
Hmm.
I hate it here. I was very vocal about it because I just felt like I needed to
Yeah.
speak out on it. And so that's when things got really bad.
Yeah.
Were you there when she had that person come in and we had to pay for that person to come in to talk to us about business?
No.
Oh, girl. So she was trying to restructure the whole thing. She wanted to do hourly pricing and she wanted to do like a la carte. And so we didn't do that before. And
Yeah.
so she flew somebody in from Texas because she was working with this like coaching company.
Okay.
And
I
this
can't
lady,
remember. the conversation.
Yes.
I don't remember. I think I came in right after it
I
happened.
think you came in right after, yeah.
Okay.
So she flew this lady out and then didn't tell us until like the day of that we were responsible to pay for the lady's flight and to pay for her accommodations. And she took it out of all of our check, like
Yeah.
over $100 for us. And none of us consented to it. Like literally none of us said, yeah, we're willing to do this. And she just kept being like, I'm doing this for you guys, for you guys. And I'm like, But everything the lady said about the pricing, about the structure, we all came together and told her we 100% agree, and she lost it. She was like, what do you mean I can't make these many changes so quickly? And I'm like, but you literally brought, like, why even talk about a hypothetical change with us if you're not willing to like implement that, you know? Like, what was the point of any of this? And the changes would have been really positive. It would have had more structure for the assistants and more respect for all of her employees. And I think she just was kind of called out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
was your experience? Because you came after all that, you know, so like what kind
Yeah.
of stuff did you experience that really made you want to
So that
leave?
was my first real stylist job. I had had one prior, but I wasn't there long enough to consider that a stylist position.
That's
So
fair.
coming into it, I was really excited because that salon was a different salon previously that I used to manage actually.
Oh,
So just that building used to
yeah.
hold a different salon. So I was excited because I was like, this is so full circle for me. Like this is where I started and like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I came into it and I went through the assisting program. I absolutely loved my mentor there. I still do talk to her a lot. But and like she helped me through a lot of things. And when, you know, the owner and I got into it, I would always go to her. So it was nice because I felt like the people who worked there, like I could go to them because we all kind of felt similar or had, you know, different views on things, but we all kind of still got along. But when I started, I went through the assisting program and I was kind of like, I felt like I was, you know, doing pretty well. Um, and then I finally was able to go off on my own. Like I did it for, you know, maybe 3 months or something like that. Went on my own. But that's when I noticed I was like, okay, like I'm getting a good amount of clients. I'm feeling like I'm doing pretty well. Like the salon's giving me clients. I'm posting a lot on social media. And the owner had asked me for tips. Like, what do you think that we could do differently for our social media? I was like, I think you need a social media manager, really.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind coming in and taking pictures and like editing and posting and whatever. Like, it's fun for me. But like, that's not my job, you know. Like, I don't mind doing that if it ends up becoming something where I'm compensated for it, and like that's my position.
Absolutely.
But I'm a hairstylist, so I can't do both, you know.
Yeah.
So she ends up coming up with this deal for me, and it's basically that I am, you know, gonna do hair. I'm gonna be a hairstylist there, so I'll take my own clients and do everything that way. And then on my days off, I would come in and I would do the social media. But we all know with social media, there's a lot of like ups and downs. Like sometimes you're like on a roll and you're coming in, you're getting the content, you're posting it, you're doing this, whatever. Back then I was still learning it. So I felt like when it was being done, it was being done well. And there were no requirements, there's no rules for this. It was just take some pictures, post, do your thing. If you have ideas, let me know. We'll talk it over, see if we can do that. She was giving me $100 a week cash and was like, you need to do 3 posts a week. I was like, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
an extra $100. But then it turned into, you know, her buying me a specific camera that I felt would be good to use in the salon, and her like kind of bribing me with those things. Like,
Mm.
here's this camera, like I'm getting this to help the salon and to help you get the content. But then like I would make a post and it's not what she wanted. But then there was no structure, there was no rule, like you were just saying. So like I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I was just kind of posting what looked good on the feed.
Yeah.
So whether I was showing off the retail area or certain stylists in their work, befores and afters, things like that, like I kind of broke it up to be something about the salon, something about the retail, something about hair, so that there's something so everyone knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And that's not what she had wanted, which is fine. I just wasn't aware. So she ended up pulling me in one day and was like, yeah, so I hired a social media manager, so we're not going to do this anymore, but I'm going to have to tax you on everything that I paid you for. And
Absolutely not.
I was like, I mean, I get it. Like, now that I'm a business owner, I
So like
understand why.
the camera and everything, like she
But
wanted to tax you on that?
she wanted me to either buy the camera off of her or figure out a way that it can be used more with this new person doing it, whatever. Like, it was my responsibility to do that. But then I was also, during that time, I was also responsible for helping out at the front desk.
Oh yeah.
So I was doing front desk, I was doing social media management, and I was a hourly stylist, and I was making minimum wage for all three
Yeah.
positions.
Yeah.
So
That's what I was making
that's
too.
right around when I got a second job, because I was like, I can't do front desk, social media management for the salon, educate the rest of the team on social media, like she was asking me to, educate them on the One Shot Hair Awards that
Yeah.
goes on every year, and like keep writing down all these new hashtags and trends and whatever. Like, I was supposed to make papers full of hashtags and papers full of trends and like social media challenges and hang them in the break room and like all of those types of things. And it was just way too much. So I told her, and after she told me, I was like, yeah, I was actually gonna tell you I'm not doing this anymore because it's not my job.
Yeah.
So we were on the same page, and I just stopped doing that. But then when I was working at the beauty supply and our old coworker ran into me there, she asked me where I was working now, if I was full time at the store, and I was like, no, I'm still at the salon. And she looked at me and was like, really? They were gonna fire you. And I was like,
What?
oh, really? I was like, good to know. What? Like, when? Why? What, did I do something? And so then, of course, me being 18 years old, freshly licensed, first
Yeah.
salon job,
I
like, I'm
think
not scared.
I think it might have cut out because someone was calling me. It did another countdown to record. So I'm just
Oh,
gonna circle back in case something cut out.
okay.
So you were saying that they were gonna fire you. You found out when she came into the
Yeah.
store. Okay.
I found out, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, did I do something? And of course, I'm newly licensed. I'm 18 years old. This is my first stylist position, so I'm like freaking out. Like, I don't want to have any like bad terms or anything with anybody. Like,
Yeah.
even though I feel like I've been doing a good job, I guess that's not the case. So she was like, yeah, no, they were going to fire you like a long, long time ago. And I was like, what's a long, long time ago? Like, I don't understand what's being told to me right now.
Yeah.
So she gives me all this information, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of keep this to myself, because I don't know if this is real, if it's not.
Yeah.
Like, somebody told me that they heard it from somebody else, and now we're here. So I just kept it to myself for a while, and then I remember I was at the job that I was working back up, the beauty supply, and I went to go check my books for the week, what clients I had, things like that, so that I can give my other job my availability. And I remember going on to my phone to our booking site, and I had nothing. My name I didn't even have a login. I was gone. I was deleted off of everything.
What?
Yeah. So, and I
That's
had a
wild.
text message prior to looking, like earlier in the day. The owner had messaged me and was like, hey, like, I really want to have a conversation with you this week. Like, I have some ideas, da 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 da. Something that was supposed to help me is what she said.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm going to be there. I think it was a Friday. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'll be there on Friday. Like, I have clients. So she's like, okay, whatever. Day goes on. I check my books. I'm not even on the books anymore. And at this point, I have not been assisting for months. I've been taking
Oh,
my own clients for months.
I already know
I,
what's coming, and my heart is about to hurt for you.
yeah.
Oh,
Uh, and this is my first job as a hairstylist. I look at that and I text her and I was like, are you firing me? At this point, I was like fired up. Like, I was so
yeah.
angry. I didn't know what to do, but I was trying to stay professional because I did want to stay there. I really liked it there
Yeah.
for the sake of my coworkers and my clients.
And it was a beautiful salon too.
It was beautiful. Um, so I just texted her straight up, are you firing me?
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I'm not. Like, absolutely not. Like, we just want to have a conversation with you. When you come in on Friday, just make sure you clock in and whatever, and do what you got to do, and then you clock out. But don't clock in until after we have our meeting, which
Okay.
was such a big thing there. if there was any like one-on-one meetings or
Yeah, you
any like
knew shit was going down.
extracurricular, it was mandatory
Yeah.
to go to monthly events or monthly one-on-ones and all this stuff as an hourly employed
Yeah.
person, but we weren't allowed to clock in and get paid for the mandatory events.
We used to have mandatory meetings every single Sunday, unpaid. Every single Sunday. Okay, so now I gotta know what happened.
So I text her. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not coming in on Friday because it says I have no client. So if you want to talk to me, you can call me." I was like, "I'm at my other job. I go on lunch at this time. If that works for you, we can get on a Zoom call." So I end up getting into my car for lunch, get on the Zoom call, and it's the owner and her virtual assistant.
Yeah.
And I was like, "So what's going on?" Like, I saw that I was taken off of the books. I'm really confused. Like, what's happening? And I had a client earlier in that week, and I was going through some personal stuff towards the end of my time there. And obviously, I was an 18-year-old little girl, couldn't really handle my emotions very well. So it was obvious when I was struggling, and at that time I was. So I had a client, supposedly, so she says, new client, gave her a haircut, and she said she liked it, but she wasn't 100% happy with it and wanted a few things adjusted. So she had reached out, and I did my digging on this because this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
She had reached out to the salon, emailed, called, all of these things, and just wanted to come in for somebody to like clean up her layers and like fix it a little bit more. And management was deleting the emails, deleting the reviews, not answering the phone calls, deleting the voicemails, everything.
Well, who was even front desk at this time? Because no one was answering the phone. After they finally fired all the front desk, like it was us doing it. So I'm like, who at this point would even be available to give this lady a call back?
Yeah. So everything was being sent, and the owner had everything on her laptop. Like, she could get everything on her laptop. Especially now in my position, like, even if I get a voicemail on my office phone, it goes directly to my email. So, like, I know that she had all of these things. So nobody's responding to the client. And so the client ended up going onto Google and leaving a review. Before I had a chance to read the review is when I'm on the Zoom call, and this is what she tells me. This client left a Google review for you, and you've had a couple like negative reviews recently. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, I think I need to take some time off. Like, I think I need to take a break for just like a couple days. I need to pull myself together. I'm going through some stuff, whatever. And she was like, yeah, so we actually are going to have you do 2 weeks worth of at-home work, unpaid, and then we'll welcome you back to the salon as an assistant. Because they were completely restructuring the assistant program. And so everything was like, when you first get hired, you know, there's like all that paperwork and stuff you have to do normally. So I had to go back and basically do all of that stuff, 2 weeks worth of it at home. No. And then I could be welcomed back to the salon to go back to being an assistant after I had full books. Like, I was booked out at least 1 month.
Yeah.
And she said that to me, and I was like, where's the review again? And so she sent me the review, and I was like, let me get off real quick. I'm going to read this, and I'll rejoin. Just give me a couple minutes. Yeah. And I'm reading the review on Google, and the person was so sweet, and they were saying basically that I remember it saying that the stylist, me, seemed to be having a hard time. And she's told me that she was newer, so I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. But management is run so poorly at this establishment. So the review is on poor management, not me. Didn't name my name or anything, just said the stylist. Even saying in the review that they were giving me the benefit of the doubt. And all of these things. And I was like, that's really sweet. What's going on? Why are you saying this is my problem? So I joined back on the Zoom call, and I was like, yeah, so I'm not going to do all of that. But I can come by as soon as I'm off today and clean out my locker, grab my stuff. Do you think you'll have my check ready by then? And she was just like, oh, okay, well, if that's what you're wanting, we really weren't wanting it to go down this road, but if that's what's best for you. And then now all the emotion kicks in, I start crying. Yeah. And so I'm crying on the Zoom call, and I'm like, I really liked it here. Like, I really liked, my mentor. I really liked my coworkers. I actually still talk to a good amount of the people that worked with us.
Yeah.
I know another one of them is opening her own salon. Two of them have a studio suite together. One of them still has the studio suite I used to work in with her. A few of the other ones, they're all at local salons in the area and all reach out to me all the time.
And they're all thriving.
They're thriving. And the community that was built there was amazing. But there was the one person, maybe two people, that kind of just made that place so, toxic.
Yeah.
The building held such talented stylists who had such big hearts. And I know in her heart, the owner was really trying to make a place that flourished. And in her heart, she was really trying to create a safe space. But I think from what I know about the first location, I think that's where she did her best.
Yeah.
And with the move, I think the stress levels of it messed with her head a little too much, and she became more money hungry rather than a motherly figure. Because at first she was that towards me. I mean, even some of my brand reps have had experience with her, and that's how I know them, is from those things. And everyone I've talked to, people that I've either worked with there, people that have had run-ins with her, whatever, they will tell you that was an amazing hairstylist. She was an amazing educator. She had such a big heart and wanted to build this culture and this amazing salon. And with the move, it kind of took a massive toll on her. And I think that's what, in the end, caused it to be such a toxic place.
Yeah.
But the women that worked there were
incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible people. Yeah. So it's very sad that it turned out to be the way it is, but I will say that I think it taught a lot of us who either have gone off and opened our own businesses or are just working in a studio alone. I think it's taught us a lot about what not to do and where to draw the line and what might be too much.
Yeah.
Because I mean, nobody ever it's everyone's first time going through stuff, So it's hard, and there was a lot of questionable things that happened there. Definitely some things that were illegal.
Oh, facts. Girl, facts.
But I think I don't want to bash her, but her whole thing was the culture we're in. That was the word that she used all the time. The culture. And at first it was very enticing and very oh, I want to be here. That sounds great. Everyone's super positive and all these things. But looking back, when you first walked in as an interviewer, it was very robot.
Was she late to your interview? Because she was late to my interview. For someone who preached about being on time, she was late to every meeting we ever had.
And the rule with that had me on the floor. The
$10 or whatever.
Yeah, if you're 5 minutes late, you owe her $5.
I never paid it. They would ask me throughout the entire day, "Are you going to Venmo? Are you going to Venmo?" And I said, "No, thank you. No, I'm not. Thank you." I never paid it because I'm legally, how is this going to stand up? Are you going to fire me for? And she's like, "We're going to put it together for the salon to do a trip or a girls thing." I'm like, "So are you punishing us for being late, or are you profiting on us being late?" Because I never saw any type of fun thing, but that was definitely illegal as well, to require us to Venmo money to her. Wasn't it her personal Venmo or something too? That's crazy to me,
Yeah. And I feel even looking back, there were so many things that should not have been done. In the assisting program, in the way she managed and ran the as a whole. But the company has since obviously shut down. But I mean, it's very sad because there were so many other ways to save that place. And, I mean, it taught me a hell of a lot as somebody who wanted to become a salon owner. And now it's taught me a lot about how to run everything, how to actually stay on top of everything so it doesn't become overwhelming. Having, a co-owner and a management team is something that is huge, because it's a lot for one person to do. And it ends up turning out the way it did there, unfortunately, a lot of the time, because you're only one person. You can only do so much.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I loved the place. I loved the women, but holy
Yeah.
crap, it was rough.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just hurting for you because, like I said, I also got like demoted back to an assistant. And it's like this soul crushing feeling because you're like, I've been doing so good. And at that point, like, I had clients and everything too. So I was like, how are you going to just like crush my hopes and my dreams right now? It was
Yeah.
very, like, very hard. And that's crazy. I
Yeah,
think
I
the
can imagine
assistant,
that
okay.
you had experience when
Yeah.
that happened. You had years of experience,
Yeah.
and as someone who had nothing, that was my first position. Like that's really what told me like this isn't for you, and I
Yeah.
quit. I fully
Yeah.
quit hair.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's wild. I do feel like the assistant program you experienced though was, if it was after that lady came and kind of spoke to us a little bit, was
yeah,
definitely different than the one I did, because the one I did was like, work at your own pace. Here's a binder, check some stuff off, and then when you do them all, you'll graduate. There's a few girls there that I have a lot of respect for, very talented women also, and they were assistants for over a year for her.
wow.
And that blew my mind. And I think she didn't like me, the owner, because I was always gassing them up and telling them, like, why are you an assistant? I would always tell them that. And they're like, oh, well, I don't know. It's just the culture. It's just what I have to do. And I'm like,
See,
but
I say the
nobody
same
has to
to
do
my girls.
these
I'm like, why are
things.
you assisting? Like you're booked. Go on your
Yeah.
own. And they're like, oh, can I do that? I'm like, yes. What do
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really quick want you to kind of touch on what you do for your assistant. Like you said, it's more voluntary education. Like, what does that look like? Because I do feel like I've seen you go through a lot of assistance, and not in a negative way, like a very positive way, because I think those girls are still booked and busy at your salon. So, like, how do you accomplish kind of training newer stylists?
Yeah. Sorry, I got a phone call too, and I think it might have messed with it.
Ah, okay, well, I can
um,
hear you now.
okay. So it is a voluntary education program. So I don't like the term assisting when, like, it's not an assistant program because that to me means, you're getting a paycheck, you are all of those things. And here it's open and free education when you work here.
Okay.
So I've had one assistant with me for almost a year now, and that's completely her decision. So when I bring somebody new onto my team, if I have the space for them, I give them the option. Like I work 4 days behind the chair, and I prefer having, kind of a friend to help me with my clientele. But I also feel like that can be beneficial for them to be hands-on and see and hear and actually do the technique that I'm doing on my client. So when somebody's fresh out of beauty school and they want to either shadow or assist or take that extra step for education, like it's everything that I would have wanted. So everything is here for them to use, and then I kind of coordinate with them. I'm like, I have these clients tomorrow. Do you want to come for the whole day? Do you want to come for just one appointment? What works for you? Most of the time they're here with me start to finish my day, and we just kind of go through everything. I teach them with why I'm formulating, what brands I'm using, the technique I'm doing, why I'm doing that, all of those things. Social media content, like they get a ton of it from working with me. Extensions, I do a lot of extensions. So they get to kind of be hands-on and do my bump ups on my clients, wash and dry extensions, kind of learn what products are good for them, things like that. And then at the end of each day, they are tipped out, a percentage of each service.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
most of my girls
Yeah.
leave with at least $150. Sometimes less. It just depends on the day, what it is that we're
Yeah.
doing, and how like involved they are.
Yeah.
Like my main girl, she's with me guaranteed 1 day a week, but sometimes she comes in like for just content, just to see if I need help or anything. And
Yeah.
she's here, 8:30 in the morning until, if we're here late, we'll be here until midnight some nights, just like cleaning up, getting everything ready. And she is helping me apply color. She's remixing me bowls of bleach. She's, hands-on with my clients. She's talkative with my clients. She's getting me lots of social media content. She washes and blow dries every single one of my clients. She asks questions a lot, like things like that. If I see that you're really like involved then I'm more enticed to give you more of the service total, you know?
Of course. I think that's
So,
cool you do it like a percent of the total because so I was working at a cosmetology school. I recently just
mhm.
quit. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But um a lot of the old students, like we've stayed in touch now that they're graduated and licensed, and they'll say they're making minimum wage, but they're also being asked to come into the salon, required, not asked, to come into the salon on their day off to do models to prove that they can do hair. But it's free, and the salon makes the models pay full salon prices, but the
Huh.
stylist sees none of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I'm like, isn't that like illegal? Because you're
Yeah.
charging them for a service. I mean, we're in Nevada now, but like California definitely would be like a red flag with the laws.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know what they are here in Nevada, but they're required to do a certain amount of models and they literally have to perform the service solo by themselves. So
Hmm.
they're using their license, using their skill set, but it's free. And again, I almost went in as a model for one of my old students because we become really good friends. She's amazing, and I wanted to support her in her journey. But the minute we
Right.
went out for drinks and she was like, "Yeah, I don't get paid," I'm like, "They're not even giving you your hourly wage, but you're required to do this." Like
Yeah.
stuff
That's the
like that's
thing with,
insane to me. Like they should get a percentage of that service,
absolutely.
regardless if they're because that's just insane. And if you're gonna call it
Yeah.
models, then model calls are free.
Yep.
So she gave me a price list of, and it's like a junior stylist pricing. So it's a little bit lower, but it's a very nice salon, very high end, luxury price point. So I'm like,
Yeah.
they couldn't even kick you like a little bit of that, like,
Yeah, that's why I like to do, because like I said, it's not an assisting program, it's a voluntary education.
yeah,
So I'll let them know, like, hey, I'm going to be here. If you want to come by, like, I'm going to be
yeah.
here from this time to this time. Totally up to you. Let me know what works. Like,
But
if
I
you
love
want to
how
come.
flexible that is because as newer
Yeah.
stylists, like we talked about, they might have other jobs or other commitments. So it's
Yeah.
like when they have the free time, they can really get in
Hmm.
there and learn.
Yeah. And I
That's
have
awesome.
even some of the girls that are part time here, they'll reach out and be like, hey, like, I have this client coming up this week. Do you have time if I come by? Like, can you like game plan with me? Like, we're very open about like, if you need help, ask for it and someone will be there. Like,
Yeah,
if any single one of my stylists comes to me and is like, I'm really struggling, I don't know what to do, I need advice, I need help. Like, I give them a list of options. I'm like, do you want me to listen? Do you want me to help you formulate? Do you want me
yeah,
to just be here for you? Do you want me to do the service with you?
yeah.
Like all of those things. Like, because I remember being in a position where I'm like foiling a full highlight and I'm not even halfway through the head. I'm like, crap, I really wish that I had extra hands or somebody to
Absolutely.
help me, because now I'm starting to beat myself up in my head and I just can't get through it. I don't want to do it. I just want to go home. Like,
Yeah,
all of this stuff. So I always am like, do you want to just talk about it? Do you want me to help you mix, formulate, get social media, like hype you up? You want me to be a hype woman? Or do you want me
yeah,
to be hands on and foil with you? Because I'll do all of it.
yeah,
Like, I'm here for you. Like, I want to help you. You're my friend. You're my co stylist.
yeah.
You're still learning. I'm still learning. I might be able to learn from you. Some of my girls are just amazing at things that I'm just horrible at. So we get to work together a lot.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
I like to put it that way so that people know, like, we are not an hourly salon. We're not a commission salon. Everybody here is rental. Everyone is their own
Oh,
boss.
I didn't know that either.
Um,
I love that.
yeah. So I didn't want to be anybody's boss because I don't want to have that responsibility.
Yeah,
So I'm just the, person that has the building.
yeah,
So I pay rent just like they pay rent. And I'm very transparent about that. Whatever it is that I work, the daily rate, calculated it out, I pay that amount of money the same
yeah,
as everyone else does. And so everybody knows, like, oh, rent's due on Saturday, like, we got to pay it, whatever. And they
yeah,
all are well aware, like, so do I.
yeah,
So that makes it feel like we're all equals, and there's no, like, there's no level system. There's no level 7 stylist, and then
yeah,
the owner is the highest level, and she's the best, and all of that. Like,
yeah,
that's not a thing here. Everyone is an equal hairstylist or
yeah.
esthetician.
With the level systems, I always felt like it's almost like publicly negative towards the newer people below them
Yeah.
because it's very much saying this person is better than that person. But if you're willing to go to them, it's a lower price point. Like it kind of doesn't allow you room to grow because you're always viewed as like the junior stylist. Like even when you grow in the levels, it's like the clients who have been there and seen you at that point, instead of like
Yeah.
appreciating your growth, it's almost like they kind of want to haggle you for like, oh, well, you used to do my hair cheaper. And you're like, yeah, but I can't do that anymore. I feel like
Yeah.
it's actually more negative than it's good for the salon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because they can pay lower commissions or lower hourly, but
Yeah.
as a whole, I think it makes the dynamic really weird.
Yeah, I've also found like if that was the case, like those places have set prices. Like for a new stylist, it is hard to grow when you put a partial highlight at like, $350
Facts.
right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I always tell my girls too when they're new and they come in, I'm like, I can't make your price for you. That's what do you feel comfortable charging? What do you feel comfortable saying at the end of the service to them? Like I can give you advice. I can
Yeah.
give you an idea, like a range idea about
Yeah.
who's currently here and what they charge. If you want to go lower, higher, meet in the middle, be the same, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But I did not want to be anyone's boss. I did not want to be anyone's higher up. I didn't want
Yeah.
to be anything like that. All of the
Yeah.
girls here, we are all completely equal. We're all talented in our own ways or similar ways. And it's a very healthy dynamic, I feel like, and not a lot of places have that. But I've noticed recently a lot of places similar are popping up in the area. So
Yeah.
it's really nice to see that there is a change coming.
Absolutely.
And it's even more exciting to be a part of that change.
Absolutely. That's how I feel too. I'm like, I want to have these conversations so people can know because
Yeah.
nothing's going to change if we just accept the toxic
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of different things, whether it's in a toxic, negative salon environment or if it's in a positive, healthy, flourishing environment, or if it's on social media, like anything can be taken the wrong way and turn into toxicity on one
Absolutely.
side or another. But maybe not everybody experiences the same, So people are all in different stages of life and in different parts of their career. So everybody's, growing at different paces.
Yeah.
And I think it is a good thing to, share our stories and be open and talk about what we went through so that these baby stylists and even experienced stylists that might not even realize they went through that can
Yeah.
kind of be like, oh crap, like I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. But it makes me
Exactly.
still want to be a part of this industry
Exactly.
because we've all made mistakes. We're all gonna make mistakes in all different aspects. I sure as hell have.
Yeah.
So, but it's about owning up to it, learning from it, growing and moving on.
Absolutely.
So I think there's a lot of positive things that are slowly starting to come, and I'm really excited to see how all of these local salons go, and I'm excited to watch everybody else grow. I'm excited to grow with them all around
Yeah.
me, and see all my friends that have gone out of state and everything too.
Yeah.
So it's really fun, but yeah, it's a lot of work, but
Definitely. Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. I was doing like rental and stuff and it's a lonely way.
yeah,
Sometimes being in a good and salon environment actually is like more motivating, especially when
yeah,
it's supportive because it seems like you and me speak similarly. Like I don't think of anyone as competition. And
yeah,
like especially teaching at a beauty school, I noticed that's like how they sell it to you. They're like, what's going to set you apart? Because everybody is competition once you guys graduate. And I kind of found myself like saying those type of things because that's what, and I remember being told that in school too. And I'm like, why are we like breeding stylists in an
yeah,
environment where it's cutthroat from the gate? Like we
yeah,
shouldn't have that. We should all support each other because there's enough clients to go around for everyone. Like
absolutely,
your clients might not vibe with me, my clients might not vibe with you. That's why
yeah,
there's like so many of us. And it's like
yeah,
if we could just be supportive instead of like saying, oh, you took my client, or oh, when you leave a salon, then being like, you stole our clients. It's like people
yeah.
are free. Like we don't own people. We don't own
No,
their
and that
souls.
like I had
Like,
one of my girls, one of my
uh,
stylists, she came up to me, she's like, remember that girl that I helped you foil and like we worked together on her? She messaged me and she wants me to do her hair. Is that okay? And I was like, girl, I don't care if she messaged you. She clearly liked you.
yeah, yeah,
Like, go for it. You need the new client. I'm okay. Like,
yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
She was so worried. I'm like, why are you so worried? Like, what are you scared of?
Yeah, you're like, she liked you.
Yeah,
I,
you helped me do
yeah.
her hair. You've done her hair before.
Yeah. I had a
So, but,
situation like that recently because I am working in a salon now too.
oh yeah,
And it's a girl I've known for God, like 13 plus years. She worked with me at the very first salon I ever worked at,
yeah,
and she owns a salon here locally. And so I was like, I know she's good vibes. I know she's good people.
yeah,
And she's fully booked, and I'm there,
yeah,
so I'm kind of starting to build a little bit, but my books
yeah,
are a little empty, and that's okay. That's just where I'm
yeah,
at. And she'll be like, "Hey, I'm running behind," and she'll like go to the client and just be like, "Oh, I've known Jamie. She's great. Do you mind taking care of her?" And they've been rebooking with me, and I've kind of had that conversation with her, and she's like, "When you eat, I eat. Like, we're good." Like, and she's
yep,
like, "I wouldn't put you in a situation or do something that would make me feel bad. Like, I have no
yeah,
problem sharing. Like, I'm at a point I can share." And it's really positive instead of being like, "Oh no, this person can wait while I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs," you know?
yeah,
So I feel like that's very positive that you're like that too.
yeah, absolutely. It
Yeah,
helps people grow that way.
definitely.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to ask you about extensions. What
Okay.
method do you guys do at your salon?
I do all methods, but primarily my clientele is weft extensions from Bellamy.
Okay. You like the beaded wefts? I know nothing about
Yeah.
extensions. That was never my
So
wheelhouse.
I do I do the beaded sewn weft extensions. Personally, I could never understand hand tied. But like the machine wefts, I get it. I got
Yeah.
those ones. Um but we carry Bellamy products in our salon, so like clip-in extensions, all their retail products, everything like that. So
Oh,
it's
that's cool.
easy for us to, provide our extension clients with that level of care. Um, and then we also host classes. Like at the end of the month, a good chunk of our girls are actually getting Bellamy certified. So
Oh,
we are
cool.
hosting a class through them here. So just like a bunch of things like that. I'm excited because I'm taking the class too, so I will learn hand tied wefts. But yeah, I do a lot of beaded weft extensions, tape ins. I haven't done very many I tips, but I've done some K tips also. So all different types. They're different, for specific reasons depending on the client and like what it is they're wanting. A lot of my clients are younger and like want the 24 inches and super
Yeah.
thick full hair. So that's usually why I lean more towards the weft extensions.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking about getting extensions for myself. That's why I'm like curious because I'm like, oh,
No, I love them. I have
yeah.
like 3 sets myself, and I'm taking a break from them right now because I'm coloring my hair in a few days. So, but I like cannot live without them.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you make sure all the girls do extensions in your salon, or do you not care what services they do since they're more
If
independent?
they're comfortable with it, some people I know a few of the girls they just extensions just don't really interest them.
Yeah.
That's just not the kind of services that they want to offer. But a good chunk of them are very interested in it and they're very hands on. A good chunk of them are also getting certified at the end of the month.
That's awesome.
So, not everybody does them, but everybody that's here currently wants to learn them.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of like practice on doll heads and hands on, and like somebody might know a better way to do something than I do, and so we kind of teach each other a lot. And so it's exciting that we're going to be able to have a couple of us certified, so we can actually teach the right ways and learn and figure out what it is that we've been missing. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy we had this call. Um,
Yeah.
and if any of our old coworkers are watching this, I'm going to say hi to them
Yeah. Hi,
because I
guys.
think that's so cool, that you stayed in touch. I talked to a few of them here and there.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. But maybe they'll
Yeah.
want to be on my podcast next time.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm down to watch that.
Yeah. I'm just super happy you agreed to do this, and I appreciate you taking the time for me.
Of course.
Yeah, but hopefully we can talk soon. And then if you ever do want to host another social media class, I will absolutely attend. So just let me know.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'm thinking about starting them up again soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to post this, as soon as I go in and make sure everything looks and sounds good because it is my first time. Okay, so we got to
Yeah.
be easy on me for that. But yeah, it's just really cool. I think that we got to do this today.
Yeah, that's been fun. I'm
Yes.
excited to see the video.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, girl.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.